Collinsworth and Tirico and fans on both sides and around the country are like, what just happened? Well, to answer that, we bring in the biggest mind I can think of. 8-time Pro Bowl receiver, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and co-host of the Fully Loaded podcast. You're going to have, of course, all of your thoughts with Sean, with your friend Sean Mike. But I do want to say, welcome to the show. Week 1 was crazy, not finished yet. Bills down 15, Cris Carter. Under 5 minutes. What happens to the Ravens in the fourth?
Well, the same thing that's happened to them in most critical situations, especially the last 2 years in the playoffs, where their best players, when you needed them not to perform super, just an average job. Zay Flowers 2 years ago, last year with the tight end and Lamar, and then now Derrick Henry coming off a historic game. I mean, when you start looking at those all-season tapes that Chris Collins and them were talking about during the game, it's like, wow, at 31, he might be even better than he was last season. And then to fumble the football. That's one of the things, a short field, a turnover, that's the only way they're going to lose that game. So now they got a short field to be able to get a short score in a quick period of time because they need 2 of them. But you can't have your best players in the most critical of situations not perform, not up to the level that we're used to seeing, but on the level of even an average player.
The Ravens punt on 4th and 3 from their own 32. There was 1:33 to go. There's this cramping thing that they talked about after, that Lamar was cramping or that they would have pushed to go for it. A lot of people saying that's when you close it out if you're Baltimore. What do you think Harbaugh should have done?
I think in that situation, everyone is very, very different. But their whole approach to the season was, we're going for everything. Like, we're going to be ultra aggressive. But with early in the season, all guys are dealing with it. We haven't played a whole bunch in the preseason, and we can't practice enough to really get in game shape. And given the amount of mobility that he had during the game, that's a real thing. So you can't just say, oh, no, when your best guy who's going to give you multiple options, I'm going to ignore the medical part of it. But the problem is he hasn't, and I listened to you earlier, Harbaugh has been absent on the sideline the last 4 or 5 years because you can't have that number of leads and be that good of a coach and punt and be like, hey, I'm happy with punting to our defense. This is not Ed Reed. This is not my boy Ray Ray. Like, they are just a shadow of themselves. All those first-round draft picks, 5 first-rounders in the secondary, multiple other first-round picks on the defensive line and linebackers. Like, I'm concerned about their whole defensive system, and not last night, but what I've seen the last several years. And I tried to look it up, but to me, maybe your expert information staff, I know, but around the same time that they departed with Wink Martindale, their defense is starting to change. And since then, like, what's their identity been? Like, what's it been? Okay, last year they got to the passer. But, like, what's it been? Turnovers. Like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh, I'm so excited to get this version of the Baltimore defense because it's not a version that he's going to ever want to see. But they don't have an identity as a defense. And when you don't have an identity, that's going to dictate going for it more on 4th down, even if your quarterback is compromised, which they said Lamar was last night.
We got problems with the defense. Love that. There's the cramping. I mean, it just sucks because it's like such a wasted moment. Like, Lamar looked near perfect, and there's not, like, you can't wake up this morning and there's nothing like, could Lamar have done anything differently or better?
Well, you got to kill Josh Allen when you get a chance. Like, you got to put a stake through his heart, shooting with a silver bullet, all those things they kill, those Michigan. Like, you got to kill that guy. Jeez. And they just needed one more first down. And a lot of times when you're in that situation, it's not about scoring. But if we get one more first down, that's going to eat up another 2.5 minutes. And then even if we get another set of downs and we punt, they got to go the distance. And they're going to have to do that multiple times, and there's not enough time on the clock. And Baltimore's defense wasn't that bad. But if you give them a short field, their defense was not putting the type of pressure on Josh and not the type of coverage that you expect to see on the type of receivers that Buffalo have. Like, they're supposed to have better coverage than what they did last night.
A big part of the story last night, which sort of sucks, but it's the discourse on Twitter this morning was this shove after D-Hop's, insane, beautiful touchdown, which you can maybe speak to. I don't know if we have it queued up here for you, but we certainly have what happened afterwards. You know, a fan reaches over the wall, shoves Lamar, stupid. Lamar gives him a pushback. Also, I don't know how you feel about that. What did you make of this? Because everyone is sort of arguing about what's right, what's not right. Your thoughts on this, Cris?
No, for one, where people, they've never been in the professional spot. Most of us have been fans, so we can understand the fan, but we should have no type of empathy for a fan that comes onto the field, especially trying to touch the opposition. Like, you know that's a no-no. And in football, you have to go out of your way in those seats to be able not only touch me on my head, but touch one of my teammates on my head. Like, you know that's a no-no. So I can understand what Lamar, I know where Lamar's from. I'm in South Florida right now. I'm about 15 minutes of where he's from. And where he's from, they're about that action. and grabbing him on his helmet at any time. Lamar, he didn't forget where he was. Like, I like his answer and everything in the press conference and everything. But that's not what you're supposed to do. That's not what fans are supposed to be about. You can yell, you can say stuff, you can do, but when you put your hands and actually touch one of my teammates and then you decide to touch myself, like, there's going to be an issue. I have no problem with the way he responded. It was quick and decisive, get off me, don't touch me. And he didn't make the point any bigger than that. And I like the way he addressed it, after the game, as if, yes, it did happen. And in that moment, he acted a little bit out of character, but we are human. And I'm definitely happy with his action. I'm sure the NFL and the league office, my guy Troy Vincent, they'll be satisfied with his action and reaction with the press conference afterwards also.
So no fine, no, this isn't like a disciplined moment for the NFL.
No, what are they gonna fine him for? Because somebody grabbed my helmet? Like, they're gonna fine me for that? For the natural reaction?
I would imagine
of protecting myself?
there's no discourse about like just liability of it, like, because where do you draw? I don't know. That's like,
Well,
I guess
there's
what
no
the internet
liability.
say.
There would have been liability if Lamar goes into the stands and pushes someone and they get injured. But when someone propels themselves into your space, I don't think there's a liability standpoint. We know there's a lot of things with the National Football League. It's a huge, huge business. But in that situation, I think they're fairly safe. I know we've done some idiotic things as players and everything, but this wouldn't be one of them. So I'm with Lamar on this. I don't think it'll be a big deal.
Yeah, because there is a part of the internet that is saying like that he didn't have to shove him, but I think what you're saying, which I really
Well, no one's been in that position before. Like,
right.
no one,
Yeah.
you don't know that. So try to be empathetic of both sides. I'm in the game. There's a lot of emotion. That catch is going to get me someplace, because that's what Hop does. You're in Buffalo to make that type of play. At this point in his career, it's either championship or bust. For Nuke, like, no. We're trying to celebrate together, and they did it in a form or fashion that wasn't unsportsmanlike. So,
And I think, well, you're close to the, you've been there, done that, but you also are close to the league part. And you mentioned Troy, and like, I like, it seems like the handling of the post-game presser is maybe more important than fans think, and like what his, just like the way that he spoke about it. And now we can move on. See that, internet? We just close that chapter and we move right on.
I think being one of the marquee players, and our players have a great deal of training on and off the field. And Lamar has been so generous with who he is as a person and his whole persona, his image and everything. Like, he is a big energy. He is a hell of a leader. And to me, I thought one thing of it was kind of protective of D Hop. And then the other thing was reactionary, because now you didn't touch me. Now you didn't grab my helmet the same way you grabbed him. Like, no, that's not getting ready to happen. And I think that was the only way of letting the person know that what you're doing is not right.
Yeah. Stop touching players. And then I think there's like also like a stop expecting players to not react as humans. I think that there's like almost like an entitlement a little bit, like, oh, we're not going to get or
I'm
precedent.
not going to tell people
to
understand the energy that's going on, but at least be fan enough to understand the energy that you have when you go to a game. Like I've been in a lot of championship atmospheres, and I'm a fan. Man, I'm a huge fan. And things can get out of control, but I realize who I am, so I watch what I do. If I feel like things are getting out of control, I'm gonna put myself in a space where I'm not on video and everything, because
Mhm.
I can act a fool too, just like anybody else.